We begin this episode of Nichi Bei Cafe with breaking news. I'm Mike Inoue in the Operations Center. A major South Bay event returns for in-person activity this year's Obon season, but with one major change. For the latest, let's head to Mountain View.
So a lot of things will remain the same. We're still on the same physical address, 575 North Shoreline Boulevard. Same footprint. The entire parking lot of the temple in front of the Hondo will be devoted to the activities. We have the food, the games, and even the dancing in the front half of our property. Yuki, yes. You've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm going to ask you to tell our friends online as well what's different about this year's parking if they've come for those two lots that were available in the back.
Yes, it is no longer here. You will see that there's a new development. There's condos, I believe, yeah. Apartments, yes. So now we have Google Parking. So Google Parking is just down the street on Shoreline, but you are not able to walk. So we have provided free shuttle service, and that will be our main difference this year. Shuttles will run every 30 minutes, and the good thing is you won't have to drive around to look for parking. You just get there and the shuttle will drop you right off at the front of our entrance.
So that's what's different. And as Buddhists, well, we know a thing or two about change, right? Impermanence. Sandy, what does it mean to have this Obon Festival with all these changes? I mean, that must be tough, but you guys are managing.
It's a little challenging. Obon in itself is a big event, so there's a lot of pieces to it. But other than that, it seems to be coming together okay. So we have a lot of people volunteering and taking on different tasks, so it's a team effort.
And while the membership agrees this is a favorite event for everyone, the reason why it's our favorite, those opinions vary.
Oh, the food. It was always the food. And my mother always had to have a Polish sausage, one every day.
Every day of the Obon.
Every day of the Obon, yes. She always made it a point of going for the Polish sausage, and then of course the corn. That was the family favorite.
Corn dogs, or Polish dog. The only corn I ever eat is from this Obon. So I don't eat canned corn. I don't eat corn on the cob from anywhere else but Mountain View Obon.
Only Mountain View Obon.
Only Mountain View Obon.
Right.
I definitely come for the food, but also to see my friends and help out in the chicken salad booth.
I love seeing my friends, and I love getting back in touch with the temple community.
It's just a time where everyone comes back from college, from school, and it's our one time to be together. And I always tell my family that it is my favorite 2 days out of the 365 days of the year, and I can't wait.
You have to have something to base yourself on, and religion is something good to do.
That's very true.
Yeah. So for me, Buddhism.
So was it good for the kids too?
I think.
You know what? Let's talk to your kid. Hey David, what do you remember? Favorite games?
I remember working in the color spot booth.
There's a bunch of games and there's prizes, and I like when there's prizes because sometimes there's stuffies.
Hoopla.
Hoopla.
Also hoopla.
So along with our food, fun, our games, we'll also have traditional music and dance to celebrate those who have made these events possible. Preserving tradition doesn't mean covering them up and storing them away. It's about sharing them so they can live on through others.
So it's a team effort. It's not just the two of us, right? And we appreciate everybody helping.
And again, it's a tradition that it's a lot of work, like you said, but there must be a lot of gang. I've talked to all the people around here. Everybody has some pretty consistent memories about the food, but then everybody else has, beyond the food, something else that's really personal, and it usually ties to family and friends that are coming back. So thank you guys for making that happen. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I love Obon.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 5 of the Nichi Bei Cafe. My name is Ryan, and I'm joined by your co-host and former Nichi Bei intern,
Julian here. As always, this monthly livestream program is brought to you by the Nichi Bei Foundation and Nichi Bei News through the benevolence of the Henry and Tomoya Takahashi Charitable Foundation. If you enjoy what we are doing here at the cafe, please be sure to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube for more content just like this.
Also, if you want to be notified of new episodes or videos on YouTube, go ahead and hit that bell icon and leave a like and comment down below if you have any suggestions for future episodes or just want to say hi. For today's show, we will be featuring stories honoring legacies in the community.
For our pastry selection, we feature a group with a long legacy in San Francisco, Japantown, the San Francisco Go Club, a board game that many consider the oldest in the world. For our salad selection, we visit the music makers at the Tunnel Plaza, honoring George Yoshida and music behind Barbed Wire.
For our chef special, we start off with welcoming the new resident minister at the Buddhist Church of San Francisco.
For our dessert, we welcome Namiko Chen of Just One Cookbook and her Goya Champuru bitter melon recipe.
And lastly, we introduce a new special segment that might be of interest to you and other San Francisco locals. So without further delay, let's start the cafe.
For our pastry selection tonight, we visit Matthew Barcus, president of the oldest board game in the world, Go, originating in China almost 4,000 years ago and brought to Japan around 500 CE.
So my name is Matthew Barcus, and I'm the president of the San Francisco Go Club. I've been the president since June of last year. So I'm a trained scientist, and I spent time in Tokyo as a postdoc at the University of Tokyo studying structural biology. When I learned about AlphaFold, I found it quite exciting, interesting, and that's when I traced it back to AlphaGo that beat the strongest human at Go in 2016. And so it took, which was a huge breakthrough for the computer world, artificial intelligence, in the sense that Go is like so much more complex and challenging than chess. So chess was solved in like late 90s, and then it took about almost 20 years later until computers solved the game of Go. And then also my wife was recommending I watch Hikaru no Go, which is, as we were like flipping through Hulu trying to decide what show to watch. Both of those things were happening around the same time, and then I decided that I was going to learn the game of Go, and that's when I reached out to the SF Go Club and its members and tried to learn in person, where I can take a break from looking at the computer all day and actually meet people, and it's a great social game. People began playing Go in Japantown in the 1880s, and sometimes Go would be used to settle bets as well. And so there were there were two clubs that sort of emerged in the 1920s, and those two clubs then combined into one at the recommendation from a Zen priest to save on rent, and that was in 1931, and how the San Francisco Go Club officially formed. In fact, I mean, there's very few Go clubs in the United States with a physical location to meet up, and I mean, there's a couple centers, but and maybe like one or two other like social Go clubs that have a physical space, but nothing to this scale. And so we're quite proud. We're the oldest Go club in America, and we have perception of like being leaders in the game of Go in the country for the last century. And so, but yeah, we're consistently open on Tuesday nights for a beginner lesson. Once you understand the rules, it's a great way to start learning strategy, and that's on Tuesday nights. And then Fridays, usually around like 5 p.m. until the mall kicks us out. We're open for casual game nights and just hanging out. And then Saturdays, we'll have a host of different activities that vary week to week, whether it's a youth go class or tournaments or another social activity. There's usually something happening on Saturday. You just have to check the calendar. And then Sundays, we also have open go lessons for newcomers to come by. So if you come around, early afternoon, you can usually find someone here to teach you about the game of Go. We have our website, sfgoclub.com, which is, where we are most consistent. But yeah, we're also on Facebook and Twitter. We have a TikTok that we ran for a little bit. Still there, but yeah.
Wow, and I thought the game of life was hard. For our salads and sides tonight, we give a brief peek at the Music Makers at the Tunnel Tops concert held on Memorial Day weekend. And as you'll see, this concert honored George Yoshida, a longtime musician, educator, band leader, and author of a book on Japanese American contributions to music.
Music Makers, Bands Behind Barbed Wire, was conceived out of an idea several years ago to bring this idea of music and the story of the camps to the schools. So we were fortunate to get a Japanese American confinement sites grant from the federal government through the National Park Service to put together the content for this curriculum project. So this project was originally an inspiration based on George Yoshida, the renowned jazz musician, band leader, and educator that passed away several years ago. But it was inspired by his book, Reminiscing in Swing Time, Japanese Americans in American Popular Music. And he was able to document the story from 1925 all the way to 1965, and then thereafter in the 1980s, about the continuum of music and how that played in the role of Japanese Americans and their experience. So through that inspiration, we wanted to really tell the story of, and retrace the story of George Yoshida, coming from Seattle to East LA, hanging out with Zoot Suiters, and then going to the post-incarceration camp, and then making his way to Chicago to be enlisted in the military intelligence service and serving in occupation Japan. And along this route, he uses and introduces music. This time, swing music, which was very popular at the time, and they formed bands in the camps, throughout the camps, and his camp was Poston. And in this poster also is him featured on at that time he was playing saxophone. And again, really using music as a source of inspiration and hope during this dark period. And we wanted to sort of illustrate that and give that chance for children to understand how to cope with dark times and difficult challenges in life. So we had an opportunity to showcase a band, which happened to be Akira Tana and his ensemble, with Jimmy Nakagawa and Kim Neely as a vocalist, to put together a concert on Tunnel Tops at the Presidio of San Francisco in time for Memorial Day. And we waited, but we got that wonderful spot, and we were able to put down a wonderful concert. Well, Memorial Day was going to be filled with lots of people, and we had some overcast skies, but miraculously, the clouds parted and the sun came out, and we had a glorious time with the band, and it really picked up the mood. We had impromptu dancers that were picking up partners and swinging to the music of live music, and intergenerational crowd. It was a really wonderful, wonderful experience to see that many people really enjoy the day. And Reverend Kawahatsu was able to sort of give us the blessing of being happy and hopeful at the same time, memorializing the true sacrifices of the 100th, 442nd, and the Military Intelligence Service men who served during World War II.
As we close out of May, we have come together to offer a memorial prayer in appreciation for all the Japanese and Japanese American veterans who have served during World War II.
So we honored them at the same time we celebrated, the lives of people who are here today.
Thanks to our producer Greg Valoria for that story. Next, we dive into our chef specials. We introduce to you the new resident minister of the Buddhist Church of San Francisco, Melissa Opel. Coming from Spokane, Washington, Melissa is the latest in a long line of ministers at the church in their over 100-year history.
The Buddhist Church of San Francisco welcomes their new Reverend Melissa Opel. Nichi Bei writer Tomo Hirai and I visited with Reverend Opel to get her thoughts on becoming the next in a long line of head reverends at the Buddhist Church of San Francisco.
I actually grew up on the west side of Washington, kind of in the Kent Auburn area. I had kind of we moved around quite a bit as a kid, so got to be in several different little pockets there. Grew up in low-income housing, and my mom got a farm home loan when I was like in the 8th grade, so we moved to a rural part of Western Washington called Black Diamond. Went to high school in Enumclaw, and then ended up in Eastern Washington on a partial music scholarship. So I went to Eastern Washington University.
After graduating, Reverend Opel worked for AmeriCorps and Big Brother and Sister for a few years. got to Spokane by pursuing a graduate degree, and supported herself by managing a local bookstore called Auntie's Books. Eventually, her path led her to her last career in the secular world.
And then just needed kind of a change after there was new ownership, and ended up working for a financial firm. And so I worked my way into a portfolio manager. And so I got to work with people's kind of stock and bonds and do trading. And
Reverend Opel's spiritual journey has taken her through many faiths, starting with Catholicism and in recent years to evangelical Christianity. But an important life decision made her change course again.
When I met my wife and I came out, it was a big problem in the evangelical world. You know, questions had already been piling up about my own thoughts and feelings about the religion I was in. That was when someone said, you know, you sound like a Buddhist, like you should go check out this temple. And I'm like, I don't know what it means to sound like a Buddhist. Like accepting? I wasn't sure. And so, yeah, when I first went to the temple, when we started chanting, it just kind of, it touched something inside.
Changes at the Spokane Buddhist Temple led Reverend Opel to decide to consider becoming a full-time reverend.
The minister kind of left very abruptly. There was only one minister's assistant. He was being pulled in a lot of different directions, and I felt like I was interested enough in the path that I wanted to help any way that I could, and I enjoyed studying as well as participating. So I started down the minister's assistant path. But then when I had Tokudo and I was in Japan, you get this really intense interaction with the ritual that, you know, we have it in everyday service, but there's something about being in this really intense like environment where you're with other people who aspire to be priests as well. And you're working with these instructors that have dedicated their whole life to doing nothing but like teaching you how to be like a good, solid priest. And there was just something about that when I came home and kind of had time for it to settle in, that it really sparked in me that like I wanted to do this full time, that there was an aspiration to do it full time.
Unfortunately, with the resources of the Spokane Buddhist Temple, a full-time position was not realistic, which led her to the Buddhist Church of San Francisco.
Bishop Harada and I started having conversations, and it was that, you know, kind of led to, and my supervisor in Seattle, Reverend Kusunoki, and, you know, kind of shared those thoughts with them and decided to go ahead and pursue full-time ministry. Actually, we talked about it before Kiyoshi happened, that he had hoped to assign me to San Francisco. And then, but you know, you can't be assigned until you have that Kiyoshi certification. It's just an absolute requirement. And then you have to have, you can either have graduated from the Masters of Divinity, or I think occasionally they allow us to like be in process with our thesis, which is where I'm at. I'm in process with my thesis. Yeah, so we had that conversation before Kiyoshi, and then I actually came and visited in November after Kiyoshi, so November of 2022. Met with the board, did service, kind of had that initial conversation.
In addition to the religious aspect, no matter what, the resident minister has to get involved with some aspect of administration. In conjunction with the board. So a lot of overlapping roles and trying to figure out, you know, what needs to get done, but also what do each of these players want to do? You know, things that they enjoy doing versus things that they may not love so much, and, you know, kind of adjusting it that way. And we had been, you know, kind of talking with her and kind of trying to figure out, you know, what are her goals, what are our goals, what kind of match we have, and it just seemed like all the way through the conversation, you know, it looked like a really good opportunity for us. So we invited her down to talk twice, I believe it was, in person, and she was able to get a sense of our very quirky Sangha, our congregation, and took it from there. Yeah.
I think the hope had been for me to be in place by January 1, but when you've lived somewhere for 20 some odd years and kind of coming into the ministry for the first year, it was just too quick for us to make that happen. And so I had another interview with San Francisco after that, and then signed my contract, and then came down in March, and we announced it to the Sangha in March that I was going to be coming on as the resident minister, and then just kind of put the pieces in place after that.
Well, I hope she's not overwhelmed. We're trying to, stay in touch with her and, give her the support she needs. And there's a lot to learn, So far, we're green light.
So coming here, it's completely different. There's a family history that stretches back to 1898, being some of the first families here. So that alone is incredibly different. Just having that sort of, no, this temple is truly my home. I've been here since I was a child. And it's wonderful too, to get to have that history and that depth of understanding. And so I'm really excited to get to hear more of people's stories and what, the temple has meant to them in their life and their children's life. And because I just haven't gotten to experience that a lot.
We wish Reverend Opel all the best at her new spiritual home and with her Sangha. This is Greg Gloria for Tomohirai for the Nichi Bei Cafe.
Become a member of the Nichi Bei Foundation, and you'll receive a host of benefits that keep you connected to the Japanese American community. Throughout the year, you'll receive 28 editions of the Nichi Bei News, the leading Japanese American community newspaper, including special editions such as the New Year's edition featuring our winter book review, the Japanese Culture and Cherry Blossom Festivals Guide, and the Obon and Summer Festivals Guide. And you can receive these in print, digital, or both formats. Members also receive a free San Francisco Japantown map and directory, a free wall calendar, and discounts to Nichi Bei events. You'll be notified about special educational events such as the Films of Remembrance, the Nikkei Angel Island Pilgrimage, the Wakamatsu Colony Pilgrimage, and the Hiroshima Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Commemoration. You'll hear about fundraising events such as the Northern California Soy and Tofu Festival, the Nichi Bei Day of Giving, and special events with the NBA's Sacramento Kings, and our Nichi Bei Day with DAs. You'll also be notified about our monthly live stream program on YouTube and Facebook, the Nichi Bei Cafe. Nichi Bei members also receive a very special new edition of the Nikkei Connections Japanese American Community Resource Guide. Your guide to Japanese America, Nikkei Connections, is packed with valuable resources from across the country, including a guide to hundreds of nonprofit organizations, Japantown maps and directories, historic destinations relevant to the Japanese American experience, a map of wartime incarceration sites, Japanese public gardens, cultural arts classes, cultural festivals, cultural and community centers, Japanese language schools and summer cultural programs, senior centers, Japanese grocery markets, and churches and religious organizations. The Nikkei Connections Japanese American Community Resource Guide was funded by a generous grant from the Henry and Tomoya Takahashi Charitable Foundation. Today's Nichi Bei, evolving with the times. Become a Nichi Bei Foundation member or give a membership as a gift to someone you care about. Stay in the know through the Nichi Bei News and a host of events and programs. Join us in our mission to keep our community connected, informed, and empowered.
Thanks to Tomo and Greg for our chef special. A very fitting story to mark the arrival of Pride Month.
On to our dessert segment with Just One Cookbook's Namiko Chen. She teaches us how to make an iconic Okinawan dish, Goya Champuru. Enjoy!
Konnichiwa, it's Nami from Just One Cookbook. Today I wanted to show you how to make a popular Okinawan dish called Goya Champuru using bitter melon, or also known as a bitter gourd. In Japanese we call this vegetable Goya or nigauri. It's a popular vegetable and well known for its bitter taste, but it has a lot of health benefits which you can read about in my blog post. It's one of my favorite ways to enjoy bitter melon, and I hope you will give it a try. Now let's get started. I hope you will give this recipe a try and let me know what you think. Please subscribe for more easy Japanese recipes, and you can click here to print this recipe. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Mata ne!
Many thanks to Namiko for that recipe. You like bitter melon, Julian?
I enjoy bitter melon, but I might need to eat a little bit more following that interview, just because I want to start my K-pop career at some point.
That's right. I heard it's good for skin aging and has a lot of vitamin C. So everybody has to eat more bitter melon.
Sounds like the way to go.
Today we launch a new segment called News Bites, highlighting events over the past month, including stories from the pages of the Nichi Bei News.
First off, we feature the world premiere on May 12th of Ben Kyoto, The Last Manju Shop in J-Town. The film, which premiered at the 41st Annual Camp Fest, captured the final 6 months of the 115-year-old business started in 1906. The film is the brainchild of Japantown local artist and auntie Erin Kimura, who worked with Emmy Award-winning filmmakers and co-directors Akira Boch and Tadashi Nakamura.
Next, we had the annual Japanese American Heritage Night with the San Francisco Giants on May 16th, as the Giants took on the visiting Philadelphia Phillies at Oracle Park. This year, the San Francisco Giants recognized the 120th anniversary of the 1903 San Francisco Fuji Athletic Club, which is believed to be the first Issei baseball team on American soil. The San Francisco Fuji Athletic Club hosted their games at Ewing Field, which was also home to the professional San Francisco Seals. The Fuji Athletic Club was founded by Chiura Obata, who later became a renowned artist and professor. His son, Gyo Obata, became an architect who designed several major league stadiums, including Oracle Park. Max Obata, the grandson of Chiura Obata, threw out the first pitch. Pre-game festivities included performances by Yuzumaru and Chorale May.
On Memorial Day, the Japanese Benevolent Society once again held a Community Memorial Day service, honoring the legacy of the pioneers who came before us. Many of our Issei and Nisei leaders, from the likes of Nichi Bei Shimbun publisher Kyutaro Abiko, Potato King George Shima, Rice King Keisaburo Koda, and Japanese tea garden founder Makoto Hagiwara, are memorialized at the Japanese Cemetery in Colma, California. The event was led by Japanese Benevolent Society and the Japanese American Religious Federation and included Consul General of Japan in San Francisco, Yasushi Noguchi, and leaders of 24 community-based nonprofit organizations.
Next, we wanted to bring up our very own event, the 11th Northern California Soy and Tofu Festival, held on June 3rd in San Francisco, Japantown's Peace Plaza. A collaborative event with many community-based organizations and individuals, the event brought thousands to San Francisco's Japantown to celebrate the joy of soy through vendors, live entertainment, tofu eating contests, and the like.
2, 1, go! All right!
On behalf of the Nichi Bei Foundation, I'd like to thank the many volunteers who helped to make this event happen, including our MCs, Jana Katsuyama of KTVU Fox 2 and Mike Inoue of NBC Bay Area. We hope that you had as much fun attending the event as we did putting it together.
And big thanks to you, Ryan, for putting it all together as well. So thank you for all the hard work there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the entire Nichi Bei team really went through a lot to make this event happen, and so we're grateful that you all could be part of it.
Very much so. And for our final piece of news, the Japanese Culture and Community Center of Northern California is in the midst of celebrating their 50th anniversary. On June 9th, they held Centerfest, dubbed a party worthy of 50 years. The event featured a live DJ, specialty drinks, a raffle, and more to kick off the festivities. Throughout the coming months, more events are planned, culminating in the 50th anniversary celebration Tabemasho. Coming up this month are 2 special events featuring Southern California's Grateful Crane Ensemble, Sentimental Journey of Nisei Life and Song on Saturday, June 24th, and Arigato Ben Kyodo on Sunday, June 25th.
For more up-to-date news like this, please be sure to subscribe to the Nichi Bei News, carrying on a legacy of 124 years of community leadership through media at www.nichibei.org/subscribe.
Next up, we will present a calendar of upcoming events for the next couple of months. But first, we would like to thank everyone for continuing to support our YouTube channel. As of last week, we have hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, let's go.
So thanks to everyone so much for helping us get over this milestone.
That's right, and we're not stopping there, so Please go ahead and tell all your friends and family to subscribe so that they don't miss a single episode of our program, as well as video segments from the show and other special videos in between. And so that said, it's time for tonight's tips, which will include our community calendar with highlights of events around the US. Come join your friends in the Japanese and Japanese American community as we cheer on rookie pitcher Shintaro Fujinami and the Oakland A's as they face off against players of Japanese descent throughout the season. The A's and Fujinami, a former star with Japan's Hanshin Tigers, will take on visiting players such as Cleveland Guardians outfielder Stephen Kwan in April, New York Mets rookie pitcher Kodai Senga, also in April, Japanese-American players such as shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and catcher Kyle Higashioka of the New York Yankees in June. Japanese rookie sensation outfielder Masataka Yoshida of the Boston Red Sox in July. And finally, Japanese two-way superstar Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Angels in September. Through our special Nichi Bei discount days, you can choose between a variety of seats to cheer on Fuji and other players who visit the Oakland Coliseum. But that's not it. Not only will you receive a 30% discount on selected tickets, but $5 of each ticket goes to support the Nichi Bei Foundation. We hope to see you at the game throughout the season. To order your discounted tickets, visit www.nichibei.org/tickets. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our 5th episode of Season 2. And everybody say thank you to Julian for filling in as our co-host for tonight. He was a former Nichi Bei intern turned Nichi Bei volunteer and now turned Nichi Bei Cafe co-host. So, Julian, you started in the Nikkei Community Intern Program, which is about to get underway in Japantowns across the state. Can you tell us a little bit about how the program as a whole impacted you?
Well, aside from it leading to my guest star appearance on Nichi Bei Cafe, what it did was impact me in 2 particular ways. First being really making me feel confident about my Asian American identity, because growing up in Maryland, where there wasn't that much Asian American community, this was the first time in the Nikkei Community Internship where I was around people who talked about their Asian American identity and were confident about it. So the internship program really built my confidence in my own ethnic identity. And then on top of that, something that me and Kenji talk about a lot is it ultimately led to my studies pivoting from just a regular Japanese major over to an Asian American studies minor and American studies major. So it really set my education journey in a certain different path that I'm very thankful for to this day. And I'm glad to be sitting here right now following the Nikkei Community Internship Program. I really owe it all to that. So that said, yeah, thanks for just wishing me well, Ryan, and getting me be part of the cafe today.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for being here. We hope that you enjoyed our show today and wish you and your family a great rest of June. And as always, we'd like to give another huge thanks to the Henry and Tomoya Takahashi Charitable Foundation for their very generous support of the Nichi Bei Cafe. We greatly appreciate our collaboration with you in finding new ways to engage with our Nikkei community. In this episode, we celebrated stories about historic legacies in the Japanese American community, and we hope that you all took something away from the cafe menu today. So, thanks again for joining us at the Nichi Bei Cafe.